If you haven't already noticed, a central part of my thinking on the Gen 3 blockchain race is that we must stay ahead of the herd and that the herd will always have a shorter than optimal time preference. The bulk of crypto participants are always asking what will be the best blockchain next week. This is the wrong question. The right question is who is actually the furthest along in solving the blockchain trilemma of optimal decentralization, scaling, and security. That can't be a blockchain that can be turned off and on at a whim. It can't be a blockchain where the programming language allows for exploits too numerous to keep track. And it can't be a blockchain where 3 or 4 pools control a majority of the validation power. But it might just be Cardano if you understand the long game required to actually solve the trilemma. Ready? Let's go. Today, we're going to discuss the new Minotaur paper on multi-resource consensus. You'll remember we've had discussions about this in the past. It's the move from just being a pure proof of stake blockchain to possibly being a combination of many different proofs of different things. We'll also talk about the move toward custom submit nodes, or at least some movement in that direction from CCvault to freeloaders.io to adaf.io. But first, let's talk about the Cardstarter SundaeSwap filing, or at least why we're not really going to talk about it. Here we go, guys. It looks like we now have documents circulating that are reported to be a complaint filed by Cardstarter against SundaeSwap and various individuals related to SundaeSwap. I know this is probably very important to Cardstarter and very important to people who've invested in certain things related to Cardstarter. I don't think this is that important long-term for the ecosystem. I know this kind of legal drama makes for good fodder for podcasts and YouTube videos and even long threads on Twitter, but I don't think this is that important. This will not be the last lawsuit between 2 entities involved in the Cardano ecosystem. Wherever we find money, we find commercial disputes. On a long enough timeline, any commercial dispute probably resolves itself on a certain spectrum. That's a spectrum from the first party getting everything it wants to the second party getting everything it wants. Somewhere on that spectrum, commercial disputes will resolve themselves on a long enough timeline. Hard to predict how long that timeline will be or where on the spectrum things will land. And we could go into a huge amount of legal analysis here and look at all the different claims that are made in this complaint and even look at case law, but it's not really the most interesting thing going on in the Cardano ecosystem. Sure, very important to the participants, very, very important to the participants, but I don't think this is that important for the ecosystem overall. If it resolves itself on the Cardstarter side of the spectrum, or if it resolves itself closer to the SundaeSwap side of the spectrum, I think the impact on the overall Cardano ecosystem is not that great. It's not as great as some of the more important things we're talking about, like Cardano's march towards resolution of the blockchain trilemma. For example, here's something that is interesting and could be very important for the Cardano ecosystem as a whole. This is a research paper called Minotaur, Multi-Resource Blockchain Consensus. And you can see some IOHK names in here. The first, these 2 in this far left column, namely, including Aglos Kiais. You'll remember Charles did a video where he talked about the future of Cardano possibly moving from just being a proof of stake blockchain to being a proof of many things blockchain. Of course, we've got proof of work. It's no secret that Ergo is kind of a sister chain of Cardano's and that it's a proof of work EUTXO blockchain. So if Cardano were to ever fold proof of work into Cardano as well as proof of stake, we've already got a very well-functioning example in Ergo. In that video, Charles talked about many other proofs of X, including things like proof of storage. Obviously, blockchains have data storage needs, and things like proof of social. In this paper, they attempt to raise the fundamental question whether it is possible to utilize many of these proofs of X in tandem and build multi-resource protocols. They say the challenge is in combining different resources to achieve fungibility between them in the sense that security would hold as long as the cumulative adversarial power across all resources is bounded. They say, in this work, we put forth Minotaur, a multi-resource blockchain consensus protocol that combines proof of work and proof of stake, and we prove it optimally fungible. So they're letting us know right now, hey, we can already combine proof of work and proof of stake and prove that we can achieve this fungibility between them in the sense that security would hold as long as the cumulative adversarial power across all resources is bounded. So, you still have limits. If you're using proof of work, you still don't want an adversary to have 51% of the hash power. You don't want them to have 51% of the stake. And down below here, they say we also generalize Minotaur to any number of resources. So this is the one to n thing. It's not just that we want to go from proof of stake to proof of stake and proof of work. It's that there are many proofs of X that might be useful to a blockchain. Guys, this is no longer about what we used to think of as the Gen 3 blockchain race. We're no longer just trying to move to proof of stake here. This is like Gen 4 of blockchains. It's not the programmability of Ethereum in a proof of stake blockchain. It's all of that programmability, all of the scaling, all the decentralization, only proofs of everything that's useful to a blockchain. We're a fundamentally different blockchain, guys. While the rest of the crypto space is scrambling to try to get as much total value locked as they can. TVL is everything. We need total value locked. That's the only thing we care about. While the rest of the crypto space is worried about that, Cardano is already trying to figure out what the next generation of blockchains will look like and how they can lead the pack among those. Cardano is the forward-thinking blockchain with the longer time preference. We're the Tesla guys in the early days, and everybody's worried about Ford and GM and Toyota and Honda telling us that EVs will never work. Speaking of the blockchain trilemma, right now, Cardano is in the year of scaling. We built for correctness first, and now in 2022, we're figuring out how to get up to a scale that will work for all of Cardano's needs. And we're experiencing the growing pains right now. We already have gigantic, enormous DeFi platforms launching, and the blockchain is congested, no question about it. And we've got some innovative answers to that problem coming not just out of IOHK, but also out of the community. You probably remember that recently Nami came out and said, hey, we know that the wallet mempools are kind of a bottleneck. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to allow you to use your dataless node as the submit node for transactions from your Nami wallet. And there's a fairly simple process to do that. So the interesting thing is that we also have other solutions that are similar. Here we have a post from Blockjock, whose name you probably recognize from the comments to these videos. And he's involved with a project called Freeloaders, freeloaders.io. And they're signing up stake pool operators for you to do the same thing, but instead of using your dataless node, you can use the relay nodes of stake pool operators to submit your transactions. Sounds very interesting, right? In this post, he explains that a transaction that took, say, 193 minutes without the solution only took 16 minutes using the solution. And more recently on the 4th, a transaction that would have taken 55 minutes only took 15 minutes. So these are pretty big increases in submit speed from 68% increase up to 91% increase. This is a great creative solution. I don't know about all the ramifications of doing something like this and using the relay nodes for this purpose, but it seems like people are definitely taking note of this idea. Here's an announcement from the adaf.io stake pool in the Philippines. They say, tired of slow transactions? Well, good thing. More and more Cardano wallets provide custom submission node setting. This helps spread the load and overall improve transaction confirmation times. Well, here at ADAF, we are happy to announce submit.af.io. And if you go to that website here, they show you an average confirmation time of 10 minutes and 56 seconds. Looks like over the last hour, 33 confirmed transactions over the last hour. And they give you the link to the API right here. Similarly, if you go to the freeloaders.io website, you're going to find instructions on exactly how to put the custom node API into your Nami wallet. And if you come down here and click on one of these stake pools, you'll find on the first page that they often have the transaction submit APIs to plug into that window. I haven't tried this yet myself, and I can't testify as to whether or not there could be any problems with utilizing this method to bypass the wallet mempools. But honestly, this strikes me as just another example of how strong the Cardano community is. By the way, Nami Wallet is not the only wallet that has a custom submit node window. CCvault just announced they also have this capability. But beware of this notice they put down here. They say make sure the custom endpoint is trustworthy and fully synced. If not, the node operator may withhold the broadcasting of your transactions for its gain or won't broadcast it at all. If you are unsure, then deactivate the setting to send transactions through the CCvault.io infrastructure. Again, I don't know if there are any hidden pitfalls that may lurk here, but this is definitely an interesting new solution to the wallet mempool bottleneck piece of the scaling efforts of the entire Cardano blockchain. Scaling is just the piece we're doing now. Cardano's been playing this long game for years, where we first built for robustness and correctness and decentralization and security, so that people are starting to notice that Cardano is not experiencing the same problems as the legacy smart contract blockchains. While a lot of the legacy blockchains may have to think about going back and rebuilding for correctness because of Cardano's long game, all we've got to do is add numbers. Talk to you tomorrow.